Listen up, you blundering fools. It's time for the Cracktastic Plastic Podcast. Get all the toy talk your evil hearts could desire from these nincompoops. Jason, Corey, Elgin, and Spoody.
Yo, Joe, and welcome to the Cracktastic Plastic Podcast, where a punk rock band of brothers get together to talk about one of our shared loves, toy collecting. I see that hand signals over there, Corey. We're here to celebrate how these little colorful pieces of plastic can transform you into a little kid again. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time to the show, well, guess what? We're not experts, okay? Just relax. We're toy enthusiasts.
Every time that we do this intro, now I think about Tad getting really, really awkward about the little kid part.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. I forget about that.
Anyway, go on.
All right, yeah. So we're just toy enthusiasts. We're going to mess things up, even though we have experts here today. We'll get into that. Let's introduce the band, your fellow podcast hosts. On lead vocals and rhythm guitar, he's our real American hero. It's Corey Canny.
Hi, I'm Corey Canny on lead guitar and rhythm vocals and rhythm guitar.
Well,
polyrhythmic vocals.
That's right.
Able to cut it out now.
Yeah, you can cut it out in post, but I'm going to mention it 4 more times during the episode, so whatever.
Well, on vocals and lead guitar, it's a true master of the universe. He's our quiet one, Elgin Arney.
That's me.
Hey.
The quiet one.
So quiet.
Elgin Arney.
No crying intro this time.
I thought we decided it was Eln, like sign.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot it. I've already forgotten everything.
On the bass guitar. He's more than meets the eye. He's our Transformers guy. It's Spoody.
Hi.
Hey. And on drums, it's me. I'm Jason, and I'm here to talk about horror, Funko Pops, and definitely some Transformers. But guys, guess what?
What?
Oh my gosh! Joining us today, we got real experts here. I mentioned that experts. We have
2.
As they both shake their heads.
I know. 2. Well, we got it. Today we're talking about comic books, and we have a creator of the comic book Tales of the Adventures of X-Ray Mary.
Wait, can I do this one?
Yeah.
With us in the van today, a man who needs no introduction.
Silence.
Yeah, you totally did
That
it.
joke is so old it could vote.
I know. I know. I appreciate that joke, though, and I just wanted to do it.
But he's also a guy with a house full of toys. He's also my brother from another mother. It's Insane Mike, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
You finally
clapping.
made it.
I'm here. It's happening.
Yay.
You didn't
All
need
these
to do that.
toys.
So, do we have to get like a spray bottle or rolled up newspaper for
Corey?
I think so.
That's like the most that you've ever said before like 40 minutes into an episode, I think.
Mark it down.
Well, guess what? There's someone else here. He must have lost his keys and been stuck here this whole time, but he's back. He's our favorite music promoter, and he's a heck of a toy collector. It's Jason Zbornik.
Jay-Z.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to reference the keys. It was a whole thing.
It was.
I had trouble with the
So-
keys last
so
time,
far.
but we found them.
But hey, so Insane Mike, we got you here
what?
finally. Tell us about yourself and your toy collection.
Oh, my goodness. Well, many things on the plate. I am a filmmaker with Company Prescribed Films. Maybe some people in the room have heard of that.
Yeah.
And I do the comic book. What's it called again?
Oh my goodness.
Tales of the Adventures of the
That cool band.
thing of the Mary of the X's.
Yep.
Issue 2 coming soon,
Coming soon.
hopefully. And
You said it, so it has to happen.
yeah,
So-
yeah, true. Also have another podcast, Attack of the Killer podcast.
Attack of the Killer podcast.
Some of you may have heard
Who
of that
said
as well. And what did you ask me?
Is
Do you
the-
have any
Tell us about
toys?
your toy
Oh, my
collection.
toy collection.
Is the
Kinda
comic
why we're
book a
here.
Target exclusive, or is that somewhere else?
I dabble in a little bit of everything. I do horror stuff. I used to do a lot of comic book stuff, but I got rid of a lot of my comic book action figures over the years, but I've kept the primo ones, the ones I can't get rid of, which I think I'll probably get into at some point during the show. And then just miscellaneous stuff like from childhood and whatnot, just recapturing the glory, I guess. And just, stuff that's cool. One of which that'll tie into what I brought with me.
Ooh, exciting. He's keeping it a secret from us.
That's right.
Big reveal.
Well, for those who didn't hear Jason before, tell us about yourself and what kind of toys you collect and
Oh my
stuff.
gosh, what don't I collect? The older I get, it seems like I find some new line that's exciting. I mean, I dabble a little bit, and it seems like everything from Fortnite. I've got some Fortnite figures, but my big boys are Master of the Universe, Transformers, Star Wars, Mask. There's just too many cool things out there, and horror toys. I love all the stuff NECA's doing, like with their Aliens, Predator, and they just keep branching out. So I love that stuff. And comic books. It's bad, and movies. But yeah, been a promoter, doing shows, all ages, running all ages venues for the last 20 years, and a lot of work, but good times.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, cool. We got a pretty fun show topic today. So maybe a little out of some of our wheelhouses, but that's why we brought in the experts. We're going to be talking about comic books. And comics that are related to toys, and toys that are made from comics, and all things to do with toys and comics. And that's exactly why we brought Mike here. He's the biggest comic book nerd I've ever known ever.
Yeah.
What is
What is a comic book?
you seem hesitant. What is that about?
Well, Webster's
you're just sad
dictionary
that it's
defines
true.
it as-
Maybe a little. 20. I think I was counting in my head. 20 long boxes of comic books.
Jesus.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Is that a lot? Okay. How long is a long box?
Oh, they can't.
For the
say
podcast,
that.
How long is
it's
that?
about like this long.
How long is
You said 20 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I had a lot.
Nope.
it's about
You
as
might
long
as well just go home.
It's
about as long as a
I have
fish
3
story.
lateral file cabinets full, but I think 20 long boxes has that beat.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah.
Weird. We're also going to visit a toy store from Kansas that Elgin visited while traveling. But don't forget, y'all, you can visit our website, cracktasticplastic.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at cracktasticpod. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Cracktastic Plastic. But right now, let's talk about what toys we picked up lately in a segment we call Thrill of the Hunt.
Listen up, you fools! If anyone knows more about searching for the most unique items in the world, it's me, Cobra Commander. In my reign as Cobra's leader, I have acquired countless items, but those meddling Joes have foiled my attempt at worldwide domination over and over again. But it's the thrill of the hunt that fuels my superb rule of Cobra. Pay attention to my loyal subordinates as they tell you of their latest exploits and acquisitions. It's the thrill of the hunt, Cobra!
All right, Corey, what have you gotten lately?
Oh, I went to A to Z Toys a couple weeks ago. Was it last weekend or weekend before?
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because when this will have aired, it will have been
It was in the past.
in the
sometime.
past many. I went to A to Z Toys in 2 weeks, and I got
Probably.
another Sky Striker and
Jesus, how many? Is that now?
that's my third. So I don't have as many as a lot of people, but it's my third. Now the thing that's fantastic about the Sky Strikers that I own is that all of the canopies on them are not broken. And so screw you guys, mine aren't broke. And then I got a Mobat. That's the tank, the first battery operated, moving around, cool tank that they did for GI Joe. And
the original tank.
Yeah,
from the
it's-
original line.
Oh, I want to see
it's
it.
in my box here. I'll grab. I'll get it out.
Oh, now that's gonna be nostalgia for me, man. Because I had that thing is
So and it's got the
that's
gun tip,
gorgeous.
which is like not
that's the
ever
first thing
there.
that breaks off.
You always have to
Yeah.
have the tip.
And the battery door's there. I haven't tested to see if it works, but I'm sure it does. But he had that at $20.
And it's like this is the top part is what you push
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, and then you push that forward, and then it moves forward, and then you push it back, and then it goes back.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sweet tank.
super cool.
High tech stuff.
So I got that, and I got another Sky Striker. I traded him. I took a complete Vamp Mark II and a complete Snowcat, and I just did a swap. And he's
I
like,
think
"Yeah,
you
I'll
could
swap."
fit a little gerbil down in there.
Yeah, you could. I've heard.
Drive that thing around
I've
the
heard that you know all about where gerbils go.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I thought it was
I
Richard
was
Gere's
coming.
tank.
And then I got a box of parts from him that had some pretty good jewels in it. And then Jason got me a Cobra Trooper from the G.I. Joe retro
What a
line,
swell
which
guy.
He's such
Yeah.
a trooper.
I mean the box art is so good. I'm not going to take it out because it's just going to break. They all do. So you get them for the art, really, and it's unfortunate because I want to take it out and play with it, and maybe I'll take it out and play with it eventually. But apparently, you have to boil them. And then I stopped at my favorite
Boil
store,
your toys.
Are you just going to pass right
Spatula
over that?
City, and I got
Spatula
the
City.
Spatula Master 5000. Here you go, Mike. That one's for you.
Oh, thanks.
See, you got something.
I did.
You really brought a spatula.
I will take this the next time
thought
I
that was
Weird
for
Al in
boiling.
concert and have him autograph it.
Fuck yeah.
Which would not be the first time he's had to autograph a spatula.
Elgin picked up for me the Creo Transformers Decepticon Shockwave. This is the best one in the line. I don't know.
Some people say that.
Someone might disagree with me, but this one, the robot mode, definitely is the coolest one in the line. And then there's these G.I. Joe. They are from Forever Clever. It's basically Lego knockoff sets, but there's like 10 of them. I think there's like five G.I. Joe, and there are 5 Cobra ones. And they're available at like some 99-cent stores out west, and apparently at Tuesday mornings. I found this one at the Coral Ridge Mall. It's $4, and they're floating around. You can't find them online anywhere. There's no online retailer for these. They're just in these stores.
That looks cool.
And yeah, our
Just the artwork alone is freaking amazing.
our Tuesday morning store in Coralville got. I asked the cashier about it, and she said that's the only one they even got in. So
Wow.
I'll keep checking them out, and I will put it together because it's cool and it was $4.
You got a Hiss tank.
Yeah, there's a Hiss
other
and
ones,
there's a
yeah.
Rattler, there's a Fang, and there's
Night Raven.
the Ferret, and there's a Night Raven.
Now, have you checked? Are these similar to the Creo G.I. Joe
Yeah.
stuff that were released before?
Yeah, they're all
is
the
it a similar
same.
build?
They're all the same kind of build. They all interlock with Legos, like same
But
same
that
style.
artwork.
Yeah, it's really
Right?
cool, and for $4, I mean.
Yeah.
So the box was kind of smashed, but whatever. Who cares? I'm going to take it out and put it together and play with it. And I got some other stuff, but this is kind of what came with me in the box tonight.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, Elgin, you've been going kind of crazy.
Yeah.
got,
I got a bunch of
Oh
stuff.
man, I'm so jealous of your stuff.
I kind of start from the beginning of time.
Back in 1980,
19 tickety
my
2.
mommy and daddy had a special hug.
How did you know? I was also at AZ Toys with Corey, and we also ran into Jason there. Zbornik.
Jay-Z.
Jay's B. Is that like KB Toys? Is that where you're getting that
Jay-Z.
from? He's calling you Jay's B, and I'm calling Jay's
Don't
Z.
listen to him.
Already. Yeah, since when have we ever listened?
Anyway, I was there. I did find this flocked Moss Man, Toys R Us exclusive. Well, he's all furry and everything, and so they had that. I also got
Hashtag flock that.
I also got some posters. I didn't bring them. I think Jason saw them. Those posters,
Oh, I saw him.
the original. So they're kind of
Oh yeah,
fragile.
those are awesome.
They're pretty fragile. They're on our Instagram pages in the past. That when you listen to this, you can go back and like those posts and stuff.
You
So,
maybe already have.
probably. So I
want to see it again.
We'll
It's
give it
freaking
to
flock, Moss Man.
other Jason to look at. I don't know.
Can I ask how much?
Go flock
It
yourself.
was 30.
Oh, that ain't bad.
No, I mean,
It's listed now as like 43 or more on
that's
their
awesome.
on the Funko app. If you look at it,
A little bit less than Scareglow.
Yeah.
I just
That's awesome.
all that flock stuff. I just want to lick it.
Gross.
I did smell him. He doesn't smell like pine.
That sucks.
That's
So
That's
sorry.
easily remedied though. Like, you just throw a car freshener
Yeah, that's
in
what I
there.
thought about. Just put in
Oil, put it on there.
a little some essential oil
Pine
or
fresh,
something.
Yeah. Just drop them in a bucket of
Yeah.
pine sol.
Those are the only things I got at ADZ Toys. Those posters, vintage posters, and then this flocked.
Yeah, those
Moss Man.
posters are super cool though. We were checking those out in the car on the way home. Like,
Yeah, they're like I said, I posted all those on Instagrams.
Instagrams.
And then it was Father's Day, and I ended up getting a couple more Funko Pops from the family. I got a tongue lasher, which I have the original vintage of that. And then I also got Triclops, which also have the vintage figure as well. His head does not spin around, unfortunately.
That's crap,
which
too.
I kind of wish it did.
Come on,
with his
Funko.
eyes
In
move
Funko
around.
form, Tongue Lasher looks more like a Ninja Turtles character than
Yeah.
a Motu
He
character.
does.
Well,
Those colors. Yeah.
My son always thinks that he always calls it a frog. It's a part of the Snake Men.
Because he's never seen a frog before.
I guess. I mean, I was like, Ethan, it's a snake man. Well, no, I think
Are
it's.
you sure, Dad?
Are you sure? Oh man, I don't
Dad,
know.
have you ever seen a frog?
No, I guess not. You got me there, kid. Sorry, it's a frog. Anyway, so I got those, and then I also got some origin figures, Merman or Seaman or whatever you want to call them, since that was what these originally called. Also the vintage one of this one. I think I bought at Kokomo Toys, actually, the vintage one of that.
Love
and then,
that store.
but pretty much my whole family got stuff for me. Like Amanda, Lily, and Ethan all got Mochi stuff for me, which is
Family
awesome
cares
for
about
Father's
you.
Day, which was awesome. And then I got Scaraglow finally,
Oh, it's amazing.
and then Ninjor as well. So and Scaraglow, he does glow. You want to look at these, Josh, or not?
I saw them.
Okay.
I want to touch him.
Well, we'll get past them. What are you doing, Corey? Stop it! Stop molesting Scaraglow.
I'm just putting him in my shirt.
This is nice. You've opened them. Mine are still in the package.
But yeah, I did
smells like
videos of all those with Ethan and kind of first impressions and open. I always like to open these and play with them.
I said earlier that this Ninjor looks like basically a Motu-sized, like black version of Storm Shadow, and I really want to
Black
get
Shadow,
one.
or is it just Shadow? I
Yeah,
guess, 'cause that would be
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
This
What a good
Scareglow
show.
cape is amazing. The cape.
I know, it's
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. I was
Yeah.
commenting on that earlier.
It's like a
too.
plastic, but it feels fabric, but it's flexible, not that hard plastic. Because there's a Ultimate Warrior that has a cape that's super thick plastic and doesn't move at all on the latest version of that, and I don't really like that. This one feels great.
But
It does.
Elgin, you got a Scareglow.
Yeah, I know it's.
How awesome is
I
that?
never had one, and I've never purchased the vintage one yet because they're ridiculously priced.
You have to get a loan.
You know, with nothing on it, it's like $200 for
Yeah.
the vintage figures, like without his cape and weapon. And basically, I got this, for retail. So
I can't believe these are $15.
I know.
Still, I mean, just the.
That
they've got,
Ninjor
the
is a really
ankle
cool
Pivots.
Yeah.
They've got the
figure.
ankle pivots.
right, and all the weapons and everything. And I do have Ninjor's sword. They're the vintage one. I ended up buying that in Chicago at Quake Collectibles when I bought it when we were on tour, and I bought a whole bunch of other weapons and random stuff. And I was like, hey, I know what that weapon is. Maybe I'll find on this tour or find Ninja. I never did, but I was like, at least I have his sword, and that's
Yeah.
at least something, from vintage line.
You can pick your teeth with it.
Exactly. Just after you get another Five Guys
You do
burger.
There we go.
And then Jason Zbornik is like, hey, he sends me a picture. I found all these figures, all these deluxe origin figures. Do you want me to get them? I'm like, yes, grab all those for me. And so he picked up for me Battle Armor Skeletor, which I did have when I was a kid. That was the only Skeletor I had when I was a kid for some reason. I never had the vintage one until I just recently bought it at Jay's CD and Hobby. So now I have the Origins figure of that. It does come with an additional head.
Oh, he looks
Sculpt
pissed.
and all that stuff, and all his weapons and stuff. And then he also got a Battle Armor He-Man.
Badass.
And these are all retail price too, so these are like $20 I think, with the deluxe figures.
Oh, heck yeah.
So I mean, with all the extra stuff, it's totally, and the artwork's great on the back as normal with all the Motu
Are these
figures.
all going to be? Are these all the ones that are on the back? Are these going to be new? Like,
new for 2021?
yeah, like, are these going to be the same line though? Like
Clamp
the
Champ's coming out now.
The
He's been out for a while. Clamp
the
Champ.
what did you call these deluxe?
Deluxe.
Are these all going to be the deluxe ones too? Or
No,
is it-
the only other deluxe one, Clamp Champ is deluxe. Ram Man is a deluxe.
I've never seen those two.
I haven't either. And Shira isn't deluxe.
Oh,
But the
I just saw his stupid face.
Oh my gosh!
His stupid fucking face on He-Man.
Oh,
Well,
He looks like he's about
don't let
to-
him,
which
don't
one?
let
He's
him
got
see
two
the
heads
rise of
called-
the evil 2-pack.
He
yeah.
looks like he's about to shout, "Can I speak to your manager?" How dare you?
It's Karen, man.
And then he also picked up the Buzzsaw Hordak. Oh, look at that to Josh there. Which I never had either. I only recently got the original Hordak at one of a vendor show. I think that was one in Burlington I went to.
Yeah.
But this was another. They made several different Hordaks.
not enough.
No, I guess the one that I got at that vendor show was the one where he like spins his hand.
The tornado one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had another Hordak that I got somewhere else. I can't remember. Anyway, so now this was the third variation of Hordak that they did on the vintage line. That Buzzsaw Hordak.
And it looks like he's
Shoots
got
out
that
stuff.
same cool cape, like the
plasticky
flexible,
cape. Yeah.
the
Like I said, I'll
flexible.
do videos of all opening and first impressions of these when my son gets back from vacation. So yeah, those three picked up for me. So thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
And then today I was up in Des Moines in Ankeny, and I finally found the Rise of Evil 2-pack with Keldor and the Origins Kronos.
In the wild.
In the wild, two of them at the store, and I had to call Jason Zbornik again. I was like, hey, because he had ordered me one. I'm like, can you cancel that?
I had one in my car. It's still in my car.
Yeah. So he's
You're
gonna,
like, I can't
he's
walk
gonna
away
return it.
without
Yeah.
taking this right now.
Yeah. So he's gonna return it, but yeah, I had to grab it while I was there in the wild. So it's pretty awesome. It's
Corey is not going to like Kronos' face.
yeah.
I mean,
He's going to say that now.
He-Man's face, though. I mean, it's just
The angry shouting.
I know it's the I just got hit in the chest face, but it just like
Right.
I understand
It's
why
the
because he's
surprise-
got two
surprise look.
heads.
But Kronos'
Yeah.
face with that helmet is
It's special ed Kronos.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's so happy.
Keldor though, he looks like he's gonna have sex with everything.
Okay.
Like he just like he's got that
Everything.
face. He's like a muscly, sexy Vincent Price. Look at him.
Yep. That might be.
And the last thing I got was at another Target in Altoona when I went up to Des Moines. Was this new Scuba Attack Skeletor head of Mega Constructs that they had three other ones that they put out, and this is the newest one. But all they did was re-release like two of the other ones and put this one in with those as well. So the other ones were like Cliff Climber and the laser from Castle Grayskull and something
But it's
else.
cool because you didn't think they were going to make any more.
No,
So
well,
it's just
I was hoping they
something.
would because they made Cliff Climber, and Cliff Climber was an accessory set that you could buy, and then so was Scuba Attack, and there was like one with like an arm thing that grabbed stuff. So that maybe they'll do that one too. That'd be nice.
And for the listeners who can't see what's going on, when Elgin said the word arm, he showed us his arm.
Yes, I made an arm motion to signify my arm.
Nice.
Yes,
Just
So
have a
that-
commentary
That's
track
a heck
on
of
it.
a haul you got there,
it's
Elton.
a lot
Wow.
of Motu figures.
You got a lot of shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's 6 and 8. Yeah. It's a
Oh,
lot.
man. Well,
Eight figures.
Insane Mike's been hiding a secret over there since he got here, and he hasn't told us. So what have you gotten
Now it's
lately?
built
reveal.
It's built up too much. It's not
Maybe.
that big of a freaking deal.
Let's all make.
I just wouldn't
I'm
even show up.
excited.
It's a pre-order. Tell the story.
Okay, well, I haven't bought anything in a long time.
Do you have to return that to the store when you go to
No,
work
because
tomorrow?
I was gonna buy it anyway. I pre-ordered it, but another thing I'm a big fan of and I collect is anything Mad Magazine related. I'm not a pop guy,
They
Jason,
all say that.
That's
but they did come out with the Alfred E.
Nice.
Newman pop.
I haven't even
that's
seen that. That's
fantastic.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
Is that-
really cool.
So I had
GameStop
to
exclusive,
get it.
or
No,
was it just?
yeah, no, it's not
Okay.
a GameStop
Okay.
exclusive.
You
just a
had
regular
to
pop.
get it.
So I had to get it. Yeah, because I have like the original DC Direct, like Alfred E. Newman and the Spy versus Spy figures.
I loved
Right.
Spy versus Spy. That was
yeah.
my favorite part
yeah.
of.
I'm surprised.
I would go
haven't
like
done
my
those.
you get
my
those-
local library in Fairfield had the whole Mad Magazine collection,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I would go and spend like Saturdays. I would just go and hang out and
Yeah.
read Mad Magazine all day.
Oh yeah, I love Mad. I like Crack.
Crack,
If you ever-
yeah. They
I
have,
like that one a little bit more. It's a little more.
I think so too. Just
aggressive
because,
or something. I don't know.
I don't
Less
know.
safe?
Well, I think that one appealed more to the comic book fan in me because going back and looking through some old Cracked, they would often They would use their in-house characters a lot.
Okay.
They had a character, the Talking Blob, and through the 60s and 70s, they would always reuse the Talking Blob. They did like a first, the Talking Blob was a parody of the Steve McQueen Blob movie, so they did that parody comic, and then they did a parody of High Noon, and the Talking Blob shows up in that. And they had other characters as well, like Sylvester the janitor. And
I think it was their monster issues that always
the monster
kept
issues
sucking
were
me in.
those were always really good too. That and some of the in-house artists that they had at Cracked, I liked just a little bit more than some of the Mad guys. John Severin, I think that's his name, is like one of my favorite artists of all time. He has such a cool, realistic look to his art, but still really cartoony. And
Nice.
he did a lot of their stuff. So, but
This is awesome.
That Mad Pop is cool.
always been a big
It's,
Mad fan, Alfred E. Newman fan.
it looks kind of like a methed out, like Ron Weasley.
So did you get the DC Mad figures when those were out? Did you get the DC ones?
The back in the day,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When DC Direct first started their line, I my goal was when DC Direct first started their line, I was going to buy every figure they did, and that was a mistake. I learned my lesson really quickly with that. But before I quit, I did get all three of the yeah.
So there's a Chase variant of that as well, with his tongue sticking out.
See,
Why'd you tell him?
forget that. I'm not like
With his tongue
I'm
sticking
not a
out.
completist when it comes to a lot of the stuff that I do, just because I just drive
Jay-Z
myself
is.
crazy
Wow.
with it. But
Am I up?
nice,
What?
I
Oh,
think
we're going to let
Josh.
Spooty go next.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm so happy for you to buy a pop. It's so great. Spooty!
Spooty!
You're gonna
Spooty
get them
Spice.
hooked.
I know.
It's gonna be terrible.
He's got several pops.
Jason got me 2 pops, and I'm still at 2 pops.
We'll see.
Yeah, I haven't actually. I
you
bought one
today.
for Elgin. That was
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of Elgin, who just brought me a Creo Sideswipe variant.
Oh.
It's the Knight Armor version.
Nice.
Although it doesn't say that on here anywhere. But yeah, it's like so he's black instead of red, which is pretty sweet.
Where did you find those? Were they Dollar General?
A dumb one. A Tumwa.
You were right the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yes, the Dollar General of a Tumwa.
I'm surprised those are still out at places.
Dollar Federales.
It was like on top. Someone was hiding it, I think.
Oh.
That was me.
Yeah.
I drove all the way there.
Yeah, exactly.
I also got it's over there somewhere. The Airwave, which was the last one of the Micromaster sets that I needed,
yeah.
so I got all those now.
Oh, that's what you
War
were
for Cybertron.
putting together when you sent pictures to us
Yeah.
the other night? Yeah. The
Got
big train track thing looking thing.
Yeah, the city stuff,
Yeah.
Micromasters. And I picked up a Grapple
Prime Day.
on Prime Day for like
Till all I want.
$14 or something.
Nice.
Yeah. I just have Inferno here comparing them.
Yep.
I also picked up Rhinox, who is just terrible.
Oh, come on.
And
But
what
you
were
like him.
He's fine unless you want to transform him, and then he sucks.
and we were
Pretty bad.
discussing earlier that the internet is absolutely alight with people pushing things out of his butt.
Yes.
What?
Ace Ventura
does it
style.
open?
Everyone's recreating Ace Ventura with having things come out his butt. It's pretty amazing.
Kind of.
Not that there's like room.
But
You could-
Spooty, is it? I know you're saying it's terrible, but like, isn't it? Could it possibly be really good because it's complicated?
it's one of those where you have to like get it into the right place, and then like get 12 different places to latch at once. And if any of them are off, like the whole thing comes back apart.
I have it, and I sympathize with
Yeah.
you. It's
In the the
rough.
first day, I
Terrible.
ended up like stressing the
rough.
plastic, and
Oh yeah.
just because there's like such a small error or a small margin to like move some of the parts.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of talk that the Thrilling 30 version is probably a little better. Like if you have it, you don't need to get this one. But
I did.
The Rhino version looks really good.
oh yeah,
And he looks good in robot form.
sure,
I don't have like the original Beast Wars ones to compare it to.
sure.
I imagine he's probably better than that one, but I've heard that. I think that's about all I've gotten. I did get the Megatron. I don't know if I've
Which one?
the War for Cybertron,
Earthrise.
Earthrise. Is it? No, it's Kingdom, isn't it? Or, is Earth? I don't remember. The War for Cybertron, Megatron, Dinosaur.
Oh,
There's a dinosaur one.
Oh, the Kingdom one?
Is it? Yeah, it is Kingdom.
Okay, the Beast Wars one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the Beast Wars, but it's way better than the Beast Wars version.
It's so good.
Yeah. I was hoping Rhinox would be close to that. Because Air Razor
upgrade,
was
but-
super good. The
Oh,
Dinobot
yeah.
was really good. Rhinox not so much.
Weird.
and you only have one.
And I don't have
DC.
Cheetor, so I don't know if that one was any better. But it looks pretty much the same as
Or
the
you could
original.
you could buy it and find out.
Yeah,
I could. I will. Well, now that I'm like, oh, fine, I'll get it. I don't see him
It's
anymore.
better than the original, and
Yeah.
the Thrilling 30 was pretty lanky and weird.
Yeah. Yeah, since I decided that I was going to get it, I haven't seen it in the store.
of course.
So,
It's been there every time.
yeah, every time.
Talking about Cheetor.
And then there's like two different versions of them.
Right.
Might
There's
be
like
one.
a,
I recommend the Netflix one.
Yeah.
It's a little more, and I've seen a couple, so if you need one, let me know.
it's like one of them, like the blue's darker, and that one like looks cooler, but like the yellow's not as good.
So
the
like
other one,
the-
the yellow's better and the blue's shitty.
The red
The
Yeah.
things we
packaging
worry about.
one. What's that one? That's the
That's he's just in robot mode. Like he doesn't. It's just a statue. Which
yeah.
the red ones are really cool.
yeah.
Um,
They have those at Walmart, I think.
I'll probably end up getting his
You
too
will.
because it'll still
on
be
it.
there because nobody wants it.
Yeah.
I just need to find the Soundwave red one.
Okay. All right.
That's all I had.
Jay-Z, you brought a pile. What have you got lately?
It's been a good week.
Ah,
It's been a good week. Not only did I get the last two waves of Masters of the WWE, which I didn't bring with me, but
Nice.
I got the Kane wave and the Roddy Piper wave.
It's 5 and 6.
Ricky the
So
Steamboat.
5 and 6. They were both
Dragon.
both of them were on the shelf. It was like so cool
wow.
because those are really hard to find. But
Yeah.
I went as well to A to Z and traded a bunch of stuff. And ended up getting some exciting things. One thing that I wanted here, and I was really excited they had this, was this Japanese Beast Wars Bone Crusher,
Oh, nice.
the Bison. And I have the U.S. version that was back from the 90s, but I've been trying to get all the Japanese ones that are in boxes because you can take them out. You don't have to break apart the blisters. And
And
I
the
appreciate
Japanese
that.
artwork is just
yeah.
Yeah, and I just
parts
they're.
below.
I mean, it's weird when you compare the size of the boxes, and it's like, whoa, is this a smaller toy? No, they just put it in a really small box.
Yeah, size matters.
I mean, that's what Japanese
I
do.
just picked up Bone Crusher a few weeks ago when we went to
American one.
Jay's.
Yeah.
Oh, really? The Beast
The
Wars
original,
one?
yeah.
Cool. The U.S. version.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I also because Jason Bollinger has been harping about the alternators. Now I'm on this alternators kick.
as you should.
I am not gonna I'm not gonna get them all like you're going for, but I already had him, and I'm like, well, they had this at A to Z, and it was a good price, and so I picked him up. It's Grimlock, the alternators Grimlock, and so I'll probably sell my inbox one that I've never opened, and display him.
Cool.
That is a good one to have.
He's a great toy. He's hard.
I don't even
One of
know.
the better
Corey's going to
ones.
have to tell me what this is again. This is a
It's called
GI,
the ground
the GI Joe.
ground air defense
Okay, just go.
system.
Yeah, and I saw this and I'm like, I don't collect too much GI Joe, but this will look cool with all the 3 3/4 inch
the acronym was GEDP.
figures that I have. The giant missiles here.
So these are going to destroy the final
Yeah, that's
faction
one I had.
characters.
That's one I had when I was a
Okay.
kid, and it's missing its big. It's missing its big radar dish.
I think I'm
That-
okay with that.
Was that a piece that was it sold like that, or was it part of a bigger?
No, it was sold like that. It was when I got it. I could be wrong, but I think it was a mail away when I got it.
I'm okay without the
then-
radar dish on top.
The
it
radar
looks good the way it is.
It does
It does
look
look
cool
cool.
with the dish though, because it's not like a round, like normal looking dish. It's
Maybe
like,
I got ripped
it's got
off
a
then.
really
Is it
cool.
rectangular?
No, I mean it's $30 normally complete
We
ish.
get-
So,
Again, I didn't.
and you didn't get it for $30. I mean, it was way cheaper than that.
And then I ended up. This caught my eye, and I don't know why. I have the Combiner Wars Menasor, but this third-party Menasor intrigued me, and the price was pretty good. And so I thought I'm going to play with this, and if I don't like it, I'll sell it. But and I can't remember which company this is from, which third-party this is. Somebody told me online, and I wrote it down, and of course I don't remember.
X-Transbots.
Is that what it is?
I'm not sure. That was just the
You
first
know how you
third-party
know
one I-
like what era these Transformers are from is because this Grimlock looks like he's wearing Jinkos.
Come on. What's the style back then? Come on.
Those alternators had the robot modes were interesting to say the
They're
least.
cool though when they transform. I was playing with Jason's toys earlier, and like when they transform into the cars, just the way that everything is hidden.
Oh yeah,
And it just looks like a car. There's the seats and the steering, like it's all underneath, and they did a really good job designing those.
I still won't get over the fact that they never released a Megatron in the alternators line though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that third party Menasor, he's pretty cool. Looking at all the different elements and the parts and all the individual components, looks a lot nicer than the Combiner Wars.
Jason's got his
definitely.
phone out. He's doing some
I
research.
feel like I'm gonna
And
break
then
that.
again, because I have this thing with Japanese Transformers and Japanese stuff, I bought this ARMS Micron thing, which was back when Transformers Prime was going strong. Over in Japan, they had these little model kits that you put together, and they'd make little weapons. And then apparently this one is part of a 3 set that if you get all 3 of them, it'll combine into a bigger thing. I doubt I'll ever get the other ones, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Sweet.
And it'd be fun, and he didn't want much for it. And what else did I end up with? Oh, I ended up with 2 of these Big Trouble in Little China reaction figures. Gracie Law.
Yeah.
Like, he was so happy I took them away from him. I think they've been there for over a year
Yeah.
before the pandemic started.
Really.
So I brought one of them to show today, and this is, again, Gracie Law. She's got this really cool headdress that clips on her head, and she's in a red gown. And to be very transparent with you guys, I got it to go with my vintage Emperor. So they're going to be the Emperor's
Sweet.
Nice.
concubines while the royal guards watch. Protect. So
That Menasor is by Fans Project.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sweet.
I was not sure.
That's what he sells for, so you did good.
Nice.
And then I ended up with a bunch of parts. I got so many loose vintage Micromasters. I'm not going to pull them all out, but and I got just tons of parts for different Transformers. But these were a couple of choice ones in the parts box I found. I don't know if this is a GoBot or just a change bot, but it looks like the old T-Bird, Black Smokey and the Bandit car, and I'm like.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for GoBots and
Fire
stuff
chicken.
like that. And then this was I think this was Mirage. This was one of the old GoBots back during the RID period of Transformers.
Oh, yeah, that's probably right.
So he was kind of cool. I didn't have him. And I got a Youngling, a Star Wars Youngling, without his saber and stuff, but I don't know. It's
But
probably
still
like
has his
10
head.
cents. He has his head. Yeah.
You guys need a bigger table.
Then I got 3
know.
mask
We're
figures,
in
so I was
that
kind of
room.
excited about these because I haven't bought any mask stuff for a long time. So one of them is missing his helicopter blade, but these 2 of them are from the deluxe packs that Mask used to have, where you'd buy a guy, you come with a mask, and then you come with like a boat or a backpack with jets or a helicopter, and so.
Sweet.
Picked those up, and then I bought one of the split-second dudes that they had on the shelf for a couple bucks, just because it's Mask, and I
Yeah.
wanted a Mask split-second figure, which I'm not going to collect that line. I'm gonna that's just going down the rabbit hole too far.
Right.
But I got to draw a line somewhere.
I
But I
have-
thought that'd be cool.
I have a single Matt Tracker figure that Jason found for me and handed to me one day and said, "Hey, I got this for you." I think it's G.I. Joe. I don't know.
Was it the G.I. Joe version?
No,
Like that they
it's,
didn't know?
it's the actual mask version.
Yeah.
It's
I wish
like a
they'd have done more of those
G.I.
Joe
Joe's
ones.
little kid.
And
Bring
then
your
I
kid to
ended
work
up
day.
with this random part from Metroplex. So
Oh, nice.
slowly but surely, we're working on a Metroplex.
Yeah, that probably went with the Metroplex that I bought from him a few weeks ago.
For real.
Really?
For real.
I found
Probably.
another part like the last time I was there too. So
Probably, yeah. There's probably some Metroplex parts floating around that probably went with the actual Metroplex that I bought there.
huh? I never saw that. So yeah, that's it. A lot of little
I
random
broke
stuff.
it on my way home.
A lot of random stuff, but those are the highlights.
Cool.
All right, I'll finish it up.
just gonna put that in my pocket.
Old Jay-Z brought me something. He got me a Spinster. From
Spinster?
A Siege
Spinster?
War for Cybertron. This is the toy that I brought in a couple episodes ago on like best finds in the wild.
Oh yeah.
I got that helicopter.
The vintage one.
The
Yeah,
vintage one. So this is the version of him.
nice.
Yeah, and he's hard to find now.
He looks
so-
good.
Oh yeah, he's super cool.
If you find another one of those,
Right, and they're hard to find now. I, like Jason also said, I've been going kind of nuts with alternate. What'd you do to his lip? Anyway, he's just shorter than I gave him to you as. Anyway, no, I've been getting some alternators.
ran out of time.
I know, and I also picked up.
It's cold.
Autobot Skids. He's a Scion SB. You will have seen some pictures I've
past.
taken of him in the past, and I opened him.
You opened it.
I did have him sealed, and my favorite toy podcast, the Triple Takeover podcast. I talk to him once in a while on Twitter, and I'll bug him, and I was like, well, guys, because they kind of had an episode about alternators that got me excited. I've mentioned that, but so I was like, well, I got them in sealed in a box. What do I do? Do I open them? And they were like, 1,000,000% yes. And I'm like, dang it. All right, I'll do it.
Peer pressure.
Totally peer pressure, and it was. But I'm grateful for it because he's a pretty amazing toy, and there we go. Okay, and yeah, he's pretty great, and I'll fix that leg later. And I love the alternator. So I think there's 27 of them, and he makes 17. So I have 10 left.
What about the KISS players?
No, I'm not doing that. One thing at a time. Or Vinyl Tech, not doing that either. But one thing at a time. These are the ones I do have. And then you might have heard it in the promo earlier. We've talked about it before. But yeah, we're sponsored by Toy Hacks now, but I love me some Toy Hacks. I've mentioned that. And I bought a shit ton of stickers. And
More on the way.
but I had time to do two, which one a night.
He's just putting them on like the bathroom wall now. He doesn't even have them for the toys. He's just like,
it's on the fridge, and the.
But
can't even see out the windshield of his car.
I got some Toy Hacks for my Siege and
sweet.
Sideswipe and Sunstreaker, and I got them done this week, and super stoked about them, and I love them because they make them so much more G1 in every way. And
Yeah.
Is that the Siege sideswipe?
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's cool.
And then
Just all these little details that are.
Oh yeah, that Sunstreaker has some small stickers.
Yeah.
And
That's super cool.
Tail lights and license plates.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and
See, I don't have those, so I don't know what they're supposed to look like without them. So
even Sunstreaker's gun has stickers on it. It's crazy.
that's awesome.
Yeah, he looks even.
should have passed around the other one with him.
Do you do before and after pictures of those when you?
I don't just.
Good
I
idea.
did once, but like, there's so many better representations online already.
Just wondering.
Like I could do Sideswipe because Spooty just got Sideswipe too, so we could do a with and without. But yeah, I think that's everything that I got. Oh my gosh, guys, that was most of the episode. We still got to talk about comic books.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Oh, no way. Well, this is we got kind of a master list of topics, and we try to let the guest pick the topic, a little behind the curtain there. But and so with Insane Mike, we finally get to have him.
Yeah.
He's our bestest
You
buddy.
can have me.
We can finally have him. Well, but and so he's been wanting this topic for a while, and like I said in the intro, he's just the biggest comic book nerd I know, and so I'm excited to hear him talk about comic books and all of the toys that we love. At some point, either came from or had their own comic book. So, let's get into it, guys. Mike, why do you want to talk about comic books? Why do you love them so much?
Explain yourself.
Here's the thing. To quote Jason, here's the thing. At first, when the list of topics, I'm like, oh, comic books. I can talk about comic books. And then I started second guessing myself. I'm like, I'm not the most knowledgeable about the comic books that are toy tie-ins. And then I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to talk, because I never get to talk about comic books on a podcast. I listen to so many comic book podcasts, and it's like, oh, I want to talk about comic books. So I'm like, screw it. We're gonna talk about comic books. Here we go.
And I know you said you're nervous, but all your comic books you read have toys. Pretty much.
Yeah,
Your
I guess you could say
DCs
that.
and Marvel, Lord knows Marvel Legends has exploded in the last few years.
But trying to keep it in themed of the
yeah,
of you guys and your passions.
mm-hmm.
Not the most knowledgeable of that.
And that sadly we aren't really that much either. That's why we needed you.
Well,
But-
I think I can do.
Sounds
some.
like this is going to be another failure.
Yeah, there's a good chance of that.
I mean, like you Joe's guys and you Transformers guys pretty much owe everything in a sense to Marvel Comics.
Oh, come on. What does that mean?
Transformers, definitely.
because
Marvel.
Marvel came up with. I mean, thanks to Jim Shooter, who was the editor-in-chief at the time of Marvel Comics, and people love or hate Jim Shooter, and there's no in between.
Why?
Because Jim Shooter has gone down in history, supposedly, of being kind of a tyrant when it comes to being the editor for Marvel Comics.
The in between would be never heard of Jim Shooter.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell us a little bit about him.
Option C. So Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics for, I think, probably, in my opinion, one of the peaks of Marvel Comics, kind of through the most of the 80s, and but yeah. People didn't really like working for him to the point where they kind of forced him out when they when he finally left Marvel. But a lot of people, a lot of fans owe a huge gratitude to Jim Shooter, especially when it comes to like Transformers and G.I. Joe. I mean, Hasbro came to Marvel's like, well, we want to do a comic book based on this toy line, and that was really relevant back in the day because of advertising.
Mm-hmm.
They could only show so much animation in a commercial for the toy line by law, and so they were like, well, what better way to advertise these toys than to put it in a comic book? And so they basically just like, hey, these are the toys. Do what you want. So, like Jim Shooter and another guy that you guys owe a huge gratitude. Why can't I say gratitude?
Because gratitude sounds so much
It's way better.
Wait till you get to Cracktastic Plastic.
Larry Hama is
Larry,
basically-
the G.I. Joe god.
Yeah, he's basically
You're right there.
responsible for naming all of your G.I. Joe characters.
Yeah.
At least the original.
And his, I think
you've
I've mentioned
mentioned it.
this
You've
on
mentioned
the
him
show before, but a fun little factoid is that the file cards that come on the back of all the G.I. Joe figures, when he was creating the characters, like he would keep notes about them, like their stories and their background and all the little notes about like what they were, like what their rank was and all that kind of stuff. And that's where the file cards came from. They were just his own personal notes about the character for the comics and stuff. And a higher up came in one day and was like, oh yeah, we should incorporate those into the toys. And
Yep.
Cool.
yeah, that's where that stuff came from.
Yep, absolutely. And you know, and Larry is such a cool guy because no one wanted to do that job back in the day.
And he's in general, he's a cool dude. Like he's in a lot of the G.I. Joe Facebook groups that I'm in, and he friends people, and he interacts with people on the groups, and like he does a lot of signings, and he'll answer questions, and like he's just like a really engaging dude in general.
Yeah, and he was on an episode of MASH.
Yeah,
but that's another topic.
Sweet.
Well, just back in the day, no one wanted to touch, toy properties. They thought it was kind of like the loser projects.
Not cool.
which is interesting because Marvel back in the day would license so much stuff. It's ridiculous in the 70s and 80s on how much licensed properties they would do comic books based on. I mean, you're talking everything from like Godzilla to 2001: A Space Odyssey was a comic book series. Mad Balls, yes, exactly.
It's pretty bad when
Inhumanoids.
comic book nerds think you look down
GoBots.
On your toys.
Yeah, there's a Masters of the Universe for a while. Yeah,
Yeah, I got some.
they've done Toxic Avenger. They even one time did a licensing deal with the NFL and put out a comic book called Super Pro, a superhero football player.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, one of the lamest things of all time.
Oh, man.
And what is really funny about all these licensed properties that they would do, especially some of the earlier stuff. You guys remember Rom the Space Knight?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That was a huge comic book series for Marvel. That way outlasted the toy. The toy was one of the
There's
worst.
like what, two toys?
Yeah, there was like two toys in the line. He had like maybe 4 points of articulation. You can move arm up, arm down.
Yeah, it was like
leg
a Star
down.
Wars toy.
Yeah, yeah, and he
Counter
but the
special.
the biggest problem with Rom is that you couldn't play with any other toys with Rom because he was just a weird
It's like
scale wise
16-inch tall figure.
Yeah, there was nothing else that matched his scale. But the
Godzilla,
comic book
maybe.
line,
Godzilla's stupid.
the comic book line. Quit trying to go Brian. The comic book line way outlasted the toy line of Rom.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Marvel thought this was important back in the day, but all of these properties that they would do, they would tie them into their universe, which was a huge mistake because eventually they were going to lose those properties.
Right.
And now they're stuck with like trying to fix continuity with properties
Didn't
that they can't.
Spider-Man appear in a Rom comic or two?
I'm
know
trying to remember. There's
did
been
appear in
several
some.
characters that appeared in Rom.
Superman appeared in Masters of the Universe.
Well, that's where Masters Universe started. Was meeting up with Superman.
That was
Yeah.
yeah.
The DC ones they did in the early 80s.
But Spider-Man appeared in Transformers.
Yeah.
Spider-Man appeared in NFL Super Pro.
Spider-Man's a whore.
So there's the Star Comics that Marvel put out for the Master of the Universe. There's a cover on one of them that basically just has Marvel characters around it. It has nothing. The comic has nothing to do inside. It's just a special,
And then Hordak's in the middle.
cover of it. And
Are
Hordax
you
is
saying the framing.
yeah, the framing. It's just all Marvel characters. It has nothing to do with the comic inside. It's a different story altogether.
Well,
but they
that
just
was-
had it as like a
That was during
special.
a time where every Marvel comic had that framing device. They would,
It was like their special.
80s. Yeah.
special,
1 month.
yeah.
Was it an anniversary or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But take like Godzilla for example. Well, no, I'm gonna go Transformers. Transformers, the Transformers comic that Marvel did. Again, they at first they wanted to tie it into their main universe, so they had Spider-Man show up in the miniseries. And this was during the black suit era. So this was Spider-Man after he first got the symbiote suit. I think it was like issue 4 of the miniseries. That's when Spider-Man showed up. In the Transformers comic book, Marvel comic, they created a character called Circuit Breaker that was their own. And it was this female character female human who is like this architect or whatever, and she created this like new aged oil rig.
Like essential oils or
Hey, there she is.
There she is. You got her. You got an issue with her. And so she was in a few issues when she was human, before she became circuit breaker.
Circuit board.
And then the Decepticons attacked the oil rig, and she kind of got hurt in the attack, and she became this like anti-robot person, hated both Decepticons and Autobots. And so she built this like exosuit for herself or whatever. And
She had emotional problems.
oh yeah, and it gave her the ability to walk again because she had lost the ability to walk. But it also gave her like vision, like laser vision powers and flight, and was able to disrupt circuitry and whatever. So what Marvel had done, since this was their character and they wanted to hold on to the license to it, she first appeared in Transformers as like pre-Circuit Breaker, and then when they first introduced her as Circuit Breaker, it was in Secret Wars #2, which was Secret Wars 2, which was a book that tied in like the whole universe, and so they introduced her as Circuit Breaker in Secret Wars 2 so they could hold on to the licensing of that character and then put her in. But when you look at her, it's like, why would you even care?
Maybe that's why we never got a Joe crossover figure of her.
And probably, yeah. Well, that would have a lot to
It
do
wouldn't
with it.
surprise
That
me if
and,
there's a
like,
custom out there, though.
that and like, look at her. Who would
not
want
real.
that? Who would want a figure of that?
Little boys.
Corey would.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's
Yeah, I
kind of
would.
at
All the
the end of the
people
day a kind of
picked
a
up
lame
Witchblade
character that
figures.
put that much effort into trying to hold on to the licensing.
Yeah. I mean, especially like, did they do a Circuit Breaker comic line?
No, she hadn't appeared in anything since
So
Transformers.
yeah, it seems like a lot of hoops to jump
Yeah.
through to even bother if she's not going to get her own line.
Yeah.
Stupid circuit board.
But I can go on forever about the
Don't.
crazy things that comic books would do to hold on to licensing of things. So
The amount of brain knowledge that you have about this stuff is
Brainy.
Is brainy.
Pretty brainy.
Just can't believe that you were single for so long.
Oh!
Baffling.
So now, if I remember right, when they were doing the Transformers comic book, they actually advertised the comic book with an animated spot on TV. Is that correct? Or am I remembering that wrong?
for G.I. Joe, when they did G.I. Joe #1, since, again, they couldn't do a commercial with animation to advertise the toy line.
Except that they did with the entire cartoon series.
Well,
and
that was the thing. That was a big old one. Yeah, so that's a commercial in and of its own. But before they came to the cartoon series, they did a commercial for the comic book, which has never been done before or since. And I remember G.I. Joe #1 sitting on the shelves everywhere when that came out.
Yeah.
It was everywhere, and it was
they weren't
weird.
messing around.
It was a weird. It was a weird print the way they printed it because it was on a thicker paper stock, not the glossy stock that they use today. So it was almost. I don't even know what to compare the paper to. I've never seen a book like it really since. But
my friend Jeremy has the issue #1, and he got it at Spuds like years ago for like $10, I think.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, is it as thick as this stuff or?
It's that thickness, but it's not gloss. It was
okay.
It was still
Okay,
regular paper.
like a grocery bag.
Yeah, maybe kind of. I just never really had seen comics on a paper stock like that before, or since really.
Corey, do you have any Joe comics?
No, I only have Transformers comics, and the only Transformers comics I have is an IDW collection that my ex-girlfriend that is now my wife.
Oh my god!
Your roommate. I'm seeing how far I can push that envelope. My ex-girlfriend that I've been living with and have fathered 2 children with now for 10 years. No, my wife Jess got for me several years ago that my son Ren has now begun to love real hard.
I think I followed that.
Covers coming off and everything, but like it's the Origins collection and the art's fantastic, and it totally made me a Megatron sympathizer.
It was a really good series.
Yeah, and it's all about how like Megatron's all pissed because they came in and automated his mine that he was working in, and like, fuck you guys, I'm evil now because you took away my job. Like,
Is that the Origins story?
Yeah.
Megatron Origin story,
Yeah.
or is it the All Hail Megatron?
No, it's Origin.
Okay.
It's like it's when he was. It's a bunch of characters' origins, but his is the first one, and it's all about like he was a mine worker. And he's like. But the art's fantastic. The stories are fantastic. I have actually read the whole book. Blur is in there. Like, there's just like some really good
That's not a Transformer.
characters. That's trans something.
Oh, is she trans?
I don't know. I don't judge.
The IDW stuff is. I mean, I didn't read a whole lot of it, but it is because They did Joe too.
Yeah.
And the stuff they did was. I mean, the art was beautiful, and they held that license for quite a while.
Yeah, and the thing about the thing I appreciated about, because I have read a lot of the Joe comics, I just don't know a lot about the history and stuff. But the storylines, they're a lot more. They're a lot more intense. Like, there's a lot more. Like, the cartoons were pretty watered down as far as the violence and stuff, and then you get into the comics, and there's a lot of killing, like a lot of killing in the GI Joe comics. Like, a lot of the main characters are dead now, as far as the comics are concerned.
Even in the Marvel comics, Cobra could actually hit things.
Yeah.
When he shot.
Yeah, they weren't just like reject stormtroopers.
Oh.
But that's true. Like on the comics, you get a lot thicker and deeper story. Like I don't have the issue yet, but I know that I don't collect GI Joe comics. But the Joe comic that I have a few, but the one that I really like to find is the one with Snake Eyes. That's like there's no words.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like that's pretty creative. I mean, especially back then.
Who put that out? Was that in Marvel?
It was Marvel.
That was
nice.
a Marvel one. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember what issue number it is. I know it's not cheap.
Yeah, that's why I don't have it yet. Probably had to buy a Transformer.
Yeah. But yeah, comic books have to be so much better story-wise than cartoons. I mean, I just started going back through the G1 Transformers series.
Yeah.
It's free on Tubi. And, I love it, and it holds up to me. But yeah, I mean,
the new stuff though, the new Netflix series is so much better than the original.
Story-wise, absolutely.
Yeah, and the animation is amazing.
Yeah.
I think what it boils down to with the stuff that we're getting today with these properties in comics or Netflix series or whatever is the fact that back then when Marvel was doing this stuff, and Marvel was also the studio that did the cartoons.
Yeah.
They were rushing to get this stuff out. They were creating a universe with Hasbro coming at them daily with here's another set of characters you got to figure out how to fit into all this.
Did Marvel own Deke? Because that's who did the original. That's who did the GI Joe cartoons originally. Did they own that company?
I don't know. No, I don't think they owned Deke because wasn't Deke a Japanese studio?
It might have been. I don't know.
Marvel Animation was the parent company. They outsourced all the work to the Japanese company.
Okay, yeah, because I remember at the end of every single G.I. Joe episode, it would say Deke.
Yeah, I bet you would remember.
So that's just the production company.
Deke
yeah,
you would remember that.
And then later on, there was the Sunbow series that everyone it's a love it or hate it one. Also, a lot of people love it and a lot of people hate it. But
and I know the G.I. Joe Transformers, all that G1 stuff. Animation-wise, doesn't hold up, but if we go back to what the cartoons were at that time, I think it was
I still love them.
Revolutionary. I still love them, too.
Yeah, I still watch the G.I. because the G.I. Joe cartoons are all on Tubi also.
Yeah.
And on YouTube.
I started going through them there too, yeah.
Yeah, and they're all there and they're all great. I still they're cheesy because it's 80s cheese, but I still love them.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I really like the third season of It gets a lot of hate. It seems like the season 3 of Transformers, but that's the one I remember liking the most, and I still like it the most. The stories were a little deeper, and I think a little more fantastical, and they were out in space, and Megatron had attitude.
It's crazy to me, it's crazy to me, when I was a kid, the amount of cartoons that I watched and that I absorbed, I feel like in my childhood it lasted a lot longer. But there's 3 seasons of the original Joe cartoons, and are there just 3 of the Transformers as well?
Pretty much. There's a 4th
3
season
and then
that
4
has 3
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah.
but-
And so like it's crazy to me that's all there is, and it seems like there was a
Spent my
lot
whole
more.
youth watching.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there was more Joe, wasn't there? Because before it was a
There was
regular
a second series, but
was there just 2 seasons of the actual series?
Yeah,
Because Joe
and then-
started off as a mini.
Yeah.
They did like 2 or 3 movie.
Yeah, it was like a movie
miniseries.
miniseries thing, yeah, and then they did
There was
two,
a couple of them, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Okay.
and then they did 2 regular seasons, and it just seemed like, and those miniseries ones, they split them up and aired them as episodes in and amongst all the other ones, also in all the reruns. But it's just crazy to me. Like my memory is that series went on for like 10 years of my childhood, and it was only probably 3 or 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z, you brought some books with you. What's your relationship with comics?
it's got like everything else. It's gotten worse as the years go by.
Worse or better?
That's all perspective.
Yep.
I mean, I have a problem. I have 2 lateral file cabinets filled, and a lot of them are Transformer comics. Transformer and Star Wars comics were the first comics I ever started collecting, and Transformer ones were probably the ones I was most committed to.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember reading those, and then got into high school, quit caring about all that stuff, and then got a job, and like, hey, I want to go finish off this collection, because I didn't have the last like maybe 20 issues. I think they did, I don't know how many was it, 80 issues of the original Transformers comic, and
like that.
yeah, something like that. I think I brought the last one with me. Yeah, it was like 80 in a 4-issue limited series. And so I remember like going on trips with my mom and with friends, and going into those little, back in the late 90s, and going into like those small dusty comic shops and filtering through stuff. And I was eventually able to finish off the run of those 80 comics, and that was a lot of fun. And then eBay hit, and I discovered, and the internet started becoming big, and I discovered the UK comics.
Uh-oh.
And what's really interesting, it's like,
yeah.
oh great, I
I got
don't
some
have all
notes
this.
about that,
I don't have all the Transformer comics, so it's like the UK Transformer comics really got me excited, because I'm like, there were stories there that I'd never even heard about. And so I started buying a bunch of those, and eventually it was like, okay, I can't get all these. Some of them are really expensive. And if you look at the whole run of UK Transformer comics, you have this weird thing happening where it's not always a continuing story. They would break it up with reissues of the US comics.
Yeah.
So, and a typical US comic equals like 2 or 3 of the UK comics. So
Does
a
look thin, yeah.
US comic would split up over a couple issues, 2 or 3 issues of the UK comic, and
Mike just loves that sound.
I'll pass this around, but they're really cool. And they had like different art style and different artists. During the Transformer run, the US one, they actually brought a couple of UK stories, at least one, over. I think it was called Man of Steel, and they brought that over from the UK to the US series. But then I think in the early 2000s, Titan started reissuing runs of the UK comics in oversized books. And so I grabbed a bunch of those, and then I've been trying to find good deals on kind of the omnibuses that collects the entire series with like cliff notes, similar to the Master of the Universe mini comics, how they have cliff notes there. The UK, I think I don't know what company released them, IDW. Maybe I think they were the ones that released them, but they've released the whole run. They're a little bit smaller though, which I like the Titan ones because they're more the size of the UK comics, which were oversized.
I was going to say that's the first thing I noticed is that the format is different.
A little more magazine sized.
Yeah, and I think they did a similar thing with G.I. Joe, but I don't know if those were complete U.S. reissues over in UK.
Like an
or
omnibus, or-
just they had some Action Force over in the UK, and I
that's
don't know
what they
if those
called
were
it,
the
was Action
same.
Force in the
If they had their own stories over there, like they did with Transformers, but
they had some. Yeah, there was a lot of reprints of the Marvel the American Marvel stuff, but they did a lot of their own stuff too. I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember who got their start working on those. I can't remember.
Man, just seeing the artwork on those bad boys.
yeah, I have a whole.
UK ones
I have
are
probably
awesome
about
looking.
like 30 or 40 of them, but I didn't bring them all. But they're just really cool. And I got really excited about that. And I've been collecting Transformer comics to this day. I have every IDW almost that's been released. I did the whole Dreamwave runs, G.I. Joe Transformer crossover stuff that Dreamwave
Did they ever do like an omnibus, like a collection of the G.I. Joe comics? Or
the G.I. Joe comics alone, or just I'm not sure. Probably there's probably a
I've
collection.
never seen
out
them,
there.
and I would like to. I would love to have the run, but I don't want to try.
Well,
and-
there's this thing called Google, Corey.
Yeah.
and you just use that and check it out. You know, I'm just joking.
Is that goo?
I just want to know what the mini Autobot toy is from the Grim Grams.
I don't know. Yeah, they had letters in there. It was cool. So yeah, Transformers, like it's gotten overwhelming with IDW though. They've released so many different titles, and I'm there's stuff I'm missing. It's gotten to the point though where I don't buy too much off the newsstand anymore. I just wait a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. You know, I don't need them. You know, pick them up at a convention and.
I don't want to handle the comics because I have Papusa on my fingers.
Thanks. And then so Transformer comics are like that's my jam, you know, and it's such a thick line, and they've done so many different things.
Do you have the UK issue that introduces Death Head?
Yeah, I have I
Nice.
actually have. I mean, yeah, I have the. Yeah, I bought the Marvel Legends Death Head too, or just because of
What is Death
Transformers.
Head?
There's a character they created. I don't know. I honestly don't know as much about it as maybe Mike knows.
I don't know a ton, but yeah, it was a character that was created for the UK stories.
Yeah.
And I guess he was so popular enough that they brought him over to the United States, and they did. And he was a character in regular Marvel American continuity there for a while as well.
He's
So
had a
totally
couple of his
unrelated
own,
with Transformers.
Yeah,
when
he's
they
had
brought
his
him
a couple of his own runs too for
Yeah, mhm.
some limited editions or
Think-
limited number series.
I think I got a couple of Death Head issues.
But then-
I couldn't get into it.
You know, in true Cracktastic plastic fashion, like you love toys when you never even played with many of the toys, but then they have they did Marvel and some other companies. They did these. Toy line would come out and they'd do like 3, 4, 5, 6 issues of a toy themed comic. And so I got stuff here. I just brought one issue to represent this, but I've got the runs of Monster in My Pocket.
Oh my!
They did Monster in My Pocket, and these aren't all great comics, but they're kind of fun.
But you got to get it.
Yeah,
You love the toy.
exactly. And then it's like, oh wow, they did a Captain Power one, so I needed that.
I used to watch that. I have the
So
collection
it's probably
of that
like
on DVD.
3
Captain Power.
issues, you know.
It's pretty.
Power Lords, 3 issues. Power Visionaries that actually ran for like seven issues or 7 or 8. So that was real popular.
So the guy
Visionaries.
that played on Captain Power in the show
Yeah.
was the original Face in A-Team, and then he in the pilot episode he was then he played Face. It didn't work on the pilot episode. He ended up doing Captain Power after that.
Captain Power, like there's an
that worked out
interesting
well for
thing
him.
about how the TV show for Captain Power and the toy line and how that all came about is a really fascinating story. Dino Riders.
Oh yeah.
I think they did like 3 or 4 issues of that. You know, I don't even know how to say that. Stariors?
This
I can't even say that. What is that, Elgin?
Death
It's
of
like
Death's
Warrior
Head.
but Star.
Story.
So Stariors,
Yeah, that
Warriors,
that was a tough one.
Starriors.
This was a pretty popular one, and this is actually a cool
Oh, yeah.
story. Sectors
Yeah.
with the bugs, and
They have
then they
these
had the
are-
toys that you could actually have the guy riding on the bug and have the bug as a puppet on your hand.
The Dino Riders, like the G.I. Joe toys of this,
Yeah,
the dinosaur in it is so stupid looking. It's, no, like the mold is so dumb because his arms are all like it looks like it's like like someone just gave it a really nice gift. Like it's just really happy and its arms are all.
But the Dino Rider toys now are so sought after.
Yeah.
So this is I'm not going to talk about Master of the Universe much because I know Elgin's got a stack that he's going to give us the 411 on Master of the Universe comics. But this was my favorite cover. It's got Orko. I don't know,
Being
putting
Orko.
Mojo on Hordak or something. I don't know what he's doing to Hordak there, but
Damn.
I'll just be.
I love that cover. Do you not have that issue?
No.
Oh,
Nope.
I think I have them all. There's like 12 or 13.
There's 13.
Yeah.
Well, technically 12, but the third it's a two-parter at the end.
Oh, cool.
But
Okay.
you've got the collection though, right?
Not of
Or
that.
is
I have
that
the,
the
I have the mini
mini
comics.
comics?
I can talk about that later.
And then Mask. I was a huge Mask toy fan, so then
So you were
I
awesome.
had to get all the comics. And Inhumanoids, I never had very much. I don't think I had any of the toys for Inhumanoids, but I remember going to Menards and seeing Inhumanoids toys at Menards.
That's crazy.
Mike,
And then
do you
as
have any?
when I got older, I watched the cartoon again, and the cartoon's really cool. It's like a little horror comic for Saturday morning, or it's a horror show for Saturday morning. And they did 3 issues of the comic, and I'm good with that. Mad Balls, which I never understood how this could sustain a comic.
How?
Like how do you make?
It was maybe like 3 or 4 issues.
Oh yeah. Oh, in a 3-issue limited series, they made
Okay,
sure to let you
okay.
know right when you
All
bought the first one that hey,
Was
we're just
Mask-
going to do 3 of them.
I
Is
had,
this-
I had
so-
the Mad
Was
Balls.
the Mask always a DC thing, or was it
Yes.
because like the Mask G.I. Joe universe ties in
Well,
together?
things have changed recently. Like it's under
those properties go
IDW
everywhere
now.
now.
Okay.
IDW's done a new run of
Okay.
Mask comics. It didn't last too long. They were trying to do the whole like shared universe thing, and it kind of
There's a mini series that I haven't been able to find yet, and I probably because I can't remember the name of it. I think
part of it. That's all part of it.
IDW put it out maybe, but it was a mini series that combines everything. It's got GI Joe.
Revolution.
Is that what it's called?
Revolution.
Oh,
It
now I'll
starts
find
with
it.
an R. I know it starts with an
Okay.
R, but
That's
it's
more
not
than he
Revolution.
had.
Yeah, it is. But it's
Because I've got like 4 issues of it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's really neat.
Because it's got Joe, GI Joe, Transformers, Mask.
Visionaries.
It's got Visionaries in it too.
They did a Visionaries comic, and I think Visionaries show up in a couple episodes or a couple issues.
Oh wow! But
It's,
Micronauts.
yep, and it's ridiculous.
Captain Action.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's like all of these three properties in one.
like how much can you feel? Like you remember back when you watched the Transformer cartoon or GI Joe, like like they try to introduce some characters, but sometimes
enough
it'd be
to
like,
remember.
oh, so many. It's like, how do you introduce all those properties and then characters of those properties in a book?
It's even got Ron the Space Knight in it.
Yep,
doesn't it?
yep.
Yeah.
And they did a box set. They did for San Diego Comic-Con, they did a box set with like Transformers. They actually did a G.I. Joe style ROM figure with that, and they did Micronauts that were Micro Machine size.
cool.
And it's really cool. I wanted it and I never got it, and now it's like $300, and
That's
I'm not
really
doing
cool.
that now.
I've been wanting to read that book. It sounds
Yeah.
like it's a mess.
It's neat, and the
but-
artwork's
cool.
really good.
Yeah, the art looked great. It sounds like it's an utter mess, though, trying to combine all of these properties into one coherent
It's like,
universe.
Gargamel
Is that Gargamel?
On
the Mad Balls
elderly
cover.
Gargamel. It is totally elderly Gargamel.
It's like his,
on
it's
Mad
like his
Balls.
dad.
I had a bunch of those things when I was a kid. Like I had the
I
Mad
loved
Balls
the Mad
toys. They were
Balls.
so. I mean, they didn't do anything. They were
just like
I'm glad you
play
mentioned.
with them in a bathtub.
I'm glad you mentioned ROM, because when I was going through my comics, it didn't even dawn on me that ROM's like that was a toy.
yeah,
I totally no. But then there's that you reminded me like Shogun Warriors also,
yeah, Shogun Warriors,
and I have
yeah.
that whole run of Shogun Warriors comics, and I never had one of those toys, but the comic was really fun.
It was a great book. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
And then,
that came from like the prime era of Marvel anyway that I love the most, and that's the stuff from the 70s, early 80s.
I agree with you. And then there never was an early 80s there was never an 80s GoBot comic, but a few years ago,
Thank God.
IDW got some of their crazy writers, and they did a GoBot series.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it's nuts. It's comedy. It's silly.
Really?
It's drawn really terribly on purpose. And they did a G.I. Joe versus Transformers. The artist that they got for this did the G.I. Joe Transformers versus Transformers comic a few years ago, and that was like comedy and just terrible, awesome B-movie style artwork that you're just like, it's so bad, but I love it. It just reminds me of like back in the day, and so I picked that up. I'm just gonna open it up. You guys got to see the terrible artwork inside because the cover doesn't do it justice.
The cover looks pretty good.
It's not compared to the inside.
Holy cow!
Yep. See, like holy, what is that? You
So
know?
on the Mad Balls cover, that's his name is Dr. Frankenbeans.
Oh my goodness,
Elgin, that artwork on that GoBots comic is pretty awful, isn't it?
Comic.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great.
I've seen better.
It's on the fandom wiki. They actually talk about
Especially these
there's
faces.
a huge similarity to him and Gargamel, aside from just the looks.
Yeah,
It's basically the same character in a different universe.
gotcha.
Like I have some comics from that
Describe
80s
that,
that are
Elgin.
like that.
Well, I mean, it just looks.
It's gaudy.
Like-
It's gaudy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know what the best way to describe it would be.
Huh.
Not
I think the
super
best way to
professional.
describe it would be to read it a panel at a time and describe each page. Panel
The
one.
art, though.
It's like a high school art project.
Yeah, that panel structure is pretty
Pretty
awful and
generic.
generic.
Yeah, amateurish.
It's trying to
but,
replicate
you know,
that 70s style artwork that
It's
was
very
in a lot
blocky
of
and-
comics.
It's what you would expect from GoBots.
You know what? It looks like
Eat flaming hot GoBot fuel.
It looks like Sunday, like the Sunday comics.
Yeah.
It's like 16 panels a page.
And the writing's really cheesy too.
So it's not only like GoBots aren't only a toy knockoff; it's a comic book knockoff. It's not even a real comic book.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
that's what I got to talk
Well,
about. I hope you didn't thumb my comics.
Well, Master of the Universe pretty notorious for comic books and mini comics
Right.
and a lot of comic action. Elgin, oh my goodness, what is that?
Oh, this is the omnibus of all the mini comics that came.
Holy
That thing's so good.
So basically, all the figures, the vintage figures, they came with a little mini comic, and that's kind of what I'm more.
Which, if you haven't
know of.
seen it, the history of it is covered really well on the Motu,
Yes.
the Toys That Made Us episode.
Basically, what I'll kind of paraphrase what they said in that documentary is that they had created these figures and with no backstory. So when they were trying to sell them, they're like, "Well, we can't sell these. It needs a backstory." So the guy's just BS, and he's like, "Well, we're making this mini comic book to explain everything." So like, "Oh, that's great." So they do it, and then they come back again to sell it, and they're like, "Wait, what age are you selling this to?" "Oh, well, 5-year-olds, but they're not going to be able to read." And they're like, well, we're also making a TV show of cartoons." They're like, "Okay, great." So then they had to stick all these comic books, mini comics with them in the figures, which are great. They're just, and they've done them on the Origin as well. Even with the wrestlers, they've done little mini comics. Here's
that's
some
cool.
vintage ones. And then I get the other, the Origin ones that come with them. But they also put together a giant tome of all the mini comics, pretty much exact replicas of what they were, and even with the they did all the She-Ra ones,
blown
as
up so you can
well,
actually read
Princess of
them?
Power.
Yeah.
And they even did some of the
Large
the
print
new
for
adventure, the
adults.
new adventure ones.
The Nude Adventures.
Yes, Nude Adventures,
So
and the 2000X as well, which I have some of those.
the mini comics, if I remember right,
Yes.
they're the storylines and history and everything is nowhere close to the cartoon, right?
Yeah, they didn't really kind of go in the same direction of.
So,
of
like,
that.
comics is to cartoon as cartoon is to movie.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Because the movie is totally different as well.
So
but
what-
the weird thing that they did with the comics, they actually did one to lead up to the movie in like the Star comics.
Oh, really?
Or another version. They're like, okay, well, this is going to lead up to that.
So my question then for you, what is canon to you?
All of it to me. It's
Really?
all story. I mean,
Good answer,
All,
good
all
answer.
I just like all the stories with
Which
it.
means there is no canon.
Yeah.
There's two. It's two different universes.
Yeah.
These toys are cool.
They just have more story.
multiverse.
I just think of them as just more backstory, and it's just
Well, I mean,
It's just
when you
more-
add the
more
movie
things
in,
that-
it's like 6 different universes.
Well, and Transformers has that same type of problem, where
Yeah.
it's like, and I always look at that type of stuff as like, when things are old enough and distant enough, people tell different stories about the same thing, and I'm like,
yeah.
all these things maybe could have happened,
It's like your grandpa telling stories and just
Yeah,
changes every
exactly.
time you hear it.
My thing is I am a huge freak for continuity. I really
I'm
am.
sure, yeah.
And which
Explains
That
you
has to
don't
be a
like
really
Marvel.
rough life to rectify everything.
Debilitating. For
it's nowadays with comics it is because
Yeah.
that's shit. I'm a DC guy. I know I've talked a lot about Marvel, but I am DC guy 100%. Since the day I was born. This is the first words out of my mouth. DC.
that was a recording. Of his
Corey's was
words.
Deke.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. But I
Bad
haven't.
robot.
I
Mine was-
haven't. Yeah, I bet. Transferred coming out of the womb, didn't you?
Anyway,
But I haven't read a DC comic in like years because it's just a free for all. It's all out the window, and I can accept what you're saying about, we can just tell all these different stories and whatnot. Just some of it for me is hard to back because I no longer have the emotional connection because the continuities.
Well, I was just at the comic store before I came here earlier, and there's like the Superman blue and red and blue, and it's like each issue is an anthology by a different artist, which I love seeing different artists take on things. But then it's different writers too, and it's like none of that thing is going to be canon at all. I mean, technically, it's just these off stories.
And I can read that stuff and still enjoy it, but I still also need to be able to go back and jump into Justice League and be like, okay, this is connected to what I read
Last page first.
6 or 7 years ago or whatever.
he is.
But
Don't.
So last page first, right?
I don't read it backwards, but I have to flip through the book and look at the art first
has
before I can
troubles.
read it.
Are you? Because you told me, I distinctly remember you telling me that you have to read the last page of a comic first. Like you have to.
Did I say that?
You said that to me once.
I lied to you.
Okay,
I was
thought-
trying to get in your pants or
Oh,
something.
But you
Which
do
you
look
did.
at it.
But
That's weird.
No, I do. I cannot sit down and read a comic book front to back.
yeah, it's the same
Or
one.
back to front, however.
That's the vintage one.
I have
That's
to flip through and
omnibus.
look at it all first.
always front to back.
I think it's just like an ADD thing where my brain, I can't sit there and not want to know what's going to happen next, and I don't have the patience to read all these words without knowing what's going to happen next. So I have to flip through the book first.
Elgin's got some. He's got some other cool stuff here.
Yeah, I had this. I picked this up. I think on Mercari. It's the 2 stories in one with the record.
Love
You can actually
those.
play it, and so this is. It's called the PowerPoint Dread and Danger at Castle Grayskull.
PowerPoint what?
Dread. The PowerPoint.
The
Dread.
PowerPoint presentation.
Yep. But it's also in the omnibus as well.
Oh, cool.
So this is the vintage one, and then this is their reprint of it in the book.
What's this? CD?
It's a burnt CD. It's a burnt CD.
Yeah, that should have
It's
came
a
with a
golf
CD
disc, yeah.
that had all the.
It should have. That would have been nice.
That'd have
if
been really
that-
cool, yeah.
a CD with or
I'm sure somebody made it.
it's probably on 8-track or something.
It's not on cassette. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
You got another giant book.
Yeah, what's
over
the other
there.
book?
The other one is they also did a comic strip, a newspaper comic strip.
They did?
Yeah,
I didn't
apparently.
know that at
Like
all.
a Sunday comics
Really?
because they do. If I can open it up,
Oh, that's huge.
but they have black.
Thanks.
They have black and white, and then also the color. So I'm guessing this is the Sunday.
That's the Sunday,
and then
yeah, and
this
then
is
it's the Daily Run.
So they only did, they had what's that terrible comic that's Rex
Family
Morgan.
Circus.
Rex Morgan, MD.
It's like that where they have it's such a long story and continuous with each one.
Yeah, but it's not. It can't
But
be terrible.
I mean, it's
though,
like
Rex
they have
Morgan.
3 cells
High
for
drama.
each one. Yeah, so
So if
that's
you're reading it daily, it's terrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to wait around. So.
Have you read all those?
I haven't read these yet. I've read all the mini comics. I read those.
You're
to,
a better man than I am.
I read all those to Ethan for bedtime stories.
That's awesome.
One,
really cool.
I basically went through the whole thing. We just
Kid's
went,
gonna be so messed up.
yeah, probably. But yeah, we just went through each one every night, and then it has a little ribbon to kind of bookmark it, and we just went through the entire book. We even went through all the 2000X ones that they did, and I have some of those too. I found them cheap at JC and Hobby of these like 2000X series, just because they look cool. So
The artwork in them is great.
yeah, and they have those in here too, and they have the She-Ra stuff and
There's
New
a bunch of
Adventures, the New
there's a bunch
Adventures.
of He-Man without his like chest protector thing. Without He-Man with no suspenders here, just like big shirtless He-Man.
He's trying to impress Tila.
Yeah, he's like standing here all like hiding his nipples, all bashful with his
a lot of the
fur pie going on down
So-
here. And
a lot of the like original mini comics and stuff, they call them the Alcala versions of them. They were very much like the barbarian
Mm-hmm.
style, and so that's kind of what that draws off of. Plus, with the mini comics, they had different people writing them through different periods, so that changes the storyline too as well of the continuity, which probably you wouldn't like in there. But each person would be like, "This is what they did," and then if in next this is run, they've those. So the artwork changes, the stories kind of change, and I just take it all in as like just one big story of history of He-Man stuff. So it doesn't bother me that there's no continuity. It just,
that mini comic collection is really nice though, with the ribbon and everything. It's
a beautiful package.
I mean,
thank you.
I think anybody that's still dating, should definitely. If you're out there still dating, you should pick that up. I mean, it's a good coffee book table.
Yeah.
Probably
And
impress everybody that comes over.
And this was put out by Dark Horse, which is now doing, I think, all of the Motu comics now.
So when you read that for bedtime stories, do you do the sound effects?
I do. I do all the voices.
Good.
You got to.
Of course.
I mean, yeah. If I don't, then he's like, "Are you gonna do Skeletor's voice?"
Are there a lot of sound effects?
You do
Oh, zoom!
Man-at-Arms
There are a lot
as
of
Macho
sound
Man?
effects.
No, I don't do him as Macho Man. I do him as like his. I do him like the Filmation versions.
He-Man is Macho Man. It's just
Macho Man at Arms.
oh, Macho Man.
Yeah.
So why don't you just read these two panels and
us a
show us
taste.
how you
Don't put us to sleep.
or
Let's
start up
get
here,
a taste.
maybe or something.
I gotta get comfy.
That looked
You don't have like
pretty
skill.
loud. Sorry.
Bedtime stories with Elgin.
So all the narrator is kind of like a narrator voice of like, with a blaze from Skeletor's energy blade, Beastman's image appears behind King Randor's throne. I love it. Watch out, Your Highness. What? The pillar is falling. Yeah. Sire, hold on. Thank the fates, he's alive. Back in the mountains, Skeletor howls with glee. My plan is working perfectly.
This is
Now for part 2 of my plan. There's what I seek. A common anthill. But not so common once my energy blade does its work. Behold! Master, those tiny ants are turning gigantic monsters. Yes, Beastman.
Ethan is the luckiest
Everything
dude
about
in
this
the
is-
world.
Yeah, he
that
is.
would have been Beastman, actually. So he's like, Master, those tiny ants are turning into gigantic monsters. Yes, Beastman. And under my spell, they are now headed for the kingdom of Eternia. Back at the king's palace, Man-at-Arms brings news. Don't despair, He-Man. Although the king is very weak and must rest for a long while, he will be fine. Thank goodness. Yet, how could I have made such a mistake? I almost destroyed the man. He doesn't blame you, He-Man. We all know you must have been tricked by Skeletor, somehow. Speaking of whom, we must soon return to Castle Grayskull.
Grammar and everything.
Wow, that was amazing. I think we now know there's probably going to be a spin-off Cracktastic Plastic channel.
Reading bedtime
Story time.
Story time.
Story
with
time.
Cracktastic Plastic. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Stories from the crack.
Stories from your crack.
Now, can you? Is there an Orko voice?
I'm trying to think if there was.
Oh, there is one.
It's probably whatever the kind of saddest sounding voice.
It's like Eeyore, but with magic.
Well, Mike, did you get to talk comics enough? You got any more over there you want to talk about?
I could talk all day, but you guys don't want me to.
Oh. Well, before we go, tell us. I want to talk about the comic book that you do. I mean, not only have you been a comic book fan, you've been reading it since you popped out of the womb.
Yep.
But you've also been drawing comics since you could hold a pencil. So
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know if everyone knows that, but I've seen your binders, and it's insanity. It's like you create a new character every day and have your entire life.
Feels like it, yeah.
And I don't know, just talk about about drawing comics and.
It's like anything. I get a passion for. I have to do it too. Making movies, you name it.
Yeah.
But I've been drawing my own comic books since grade school. Yeah, and I have multiple universes as well. The one thing that Jason's referring to is the binders is like the one universe of mine that has lasted the longest and is the most expansive. I decided one day I was going to sit down and catalog every character I've ever done and in kind of
Who's Who
page. Yeah, I didn't know if
Yeah, I know.
the reference. Who's Who style with like the history, the power set, first appearances, all that jazz. And at last count, I was, and I'm not done, but the last count, I was like about 700 characters.
That he just did for himself.
Yeah,
For
this is
years
my
and
own
years and
private
years.
universe. This is the most I've ever talked about it,
It is.
in,
So I'm
in
sorry, I didn't-
public. It's
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
We're all
So-
friends.
That's right. I know Corey's seen some of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when
Leaving it
you're
open.
flipping through it and you stop and you laugh for a while, and then you just start flipping again and you stop.
I have
and you laugh
said
for a while.
I have said out loud in other forums that I consider Insane Mike to be a comic genius.
That's right.
His
tell him
brain
that.
his brain is incredibly cracked, and I appreciate that about him.
yeah,
I'll
very
edit
much
that
so.
out. Don't worry.
But
Fill in
recently,
something.
over the past few years, I created a
It's gotten
whole
crazy.
new universe that I am sharing with the world, and that is the X-Ray Mary comic.
Who's that?
Those
it's
guys.
you guys.
it's
what?
It's a
It's like the
comic
worst
book
subject matter.
based on the band. But my problem when it comes to comics, stuff I draw anyway, the stuff I write and draw, it just always just becomes about superheroes. Always. Now it's a funny perspective. I always have a lot of humor in the comics that I write, but I basically, I cannot. So basically, I've turned the entire band into this misfit team of failed superheroes.
Terrible superheroes.
Terrible superheroes. You have Elgin is the Raker, and Spooty is Xenoman, and Jason is Atomic Thunderstick.
Dang right.
And my favorite, Corey, is the Yellow Mantis.
Yeah, it's
Part of my problem with the book, though, is like I've known you guys for years, but I know I'm not really capturing the personalities because I have my own sense of humor that I'm putting on the page. And like with issue 2, that hopefully it comes out soon, like I know I don't like Yellow Mantis gets pissed off all the time when he is failing when the team is failing as superheroes, and that is a big time in this new issue.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen you get pissed off at anything.
yeah. Only when I lose my keys.
But you do talk about Yellow Mantis being really tall.
Yeah,
So there's that.
Yellow Mantis is really tall.
yeah, if you can't tell by listening to me, I'm tall.
I think that should be a future
It's a tall
issue.
voice.
Like Yellow Mantis loses his keys.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that now. That may be a plot point. That
be a-
should have been what started this issue because
Yeah.
the van breaks
Right.
down at the
It's
beginning
not
of
too
issue
late.
2. That's right.
It's
Not
not
too
out
late.
yet.
It's not out
only
yet.
only another rewrite.
You just got to add one panel at the very beginning that just says,
Just like tape it in.
yeah, it just
Post
says
a note. Like
Corey
a post-
There
loses his
is
keys.
post-it notes in the issue. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
but you always make fun of Spooty for being asleep. So I mean,
That's pretty.
he's right now. He's asleep. So he didn't even hear me say that. So
Shh, you gotta be quiet. Don't wake him up.
And
We're
Atomic
recording this in my
Thunderstick
bedroom.
gets distracted from the fight with the supervillains because he finds a table full of pops.
yeah.
So
See,
he's
you're
gotta-
getting it in there.
yeah.
So there's a
Yeah,
little
you're
bit.
getting your jabs.
But I'm also like already 5 pages into issue number 3, guys.
Yes.
Sweet.
So there you go.
It's so awesome because it all just started with a joke
I know.
Yeah.
or a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Really, we just because there's 4 of us and there's 4 letters in X-ray, and we all Corey worked at a T-shirt place, and we just had him make some shirts with an X and an R and an A and a Y on each shirt. And the way we stood on stage, it spelled
Lined up.
X-ray. But then it was coming up on Halloween. We were playing a Halloween party, which we always do, and we're like, let's get capes, vampire capes. Okay,
That
worst
happened
idea
once,
ever.
and then we stopped because it was too fucking hot.
it's really fucking.
It is hot under those.
And then that's all it was. And then it was just like, but then it was so much fun. We just started making backstories. And then Mike, I don't know if he overheard it or like, oh, it just.
I think I actually said to him,
Yeah.
you should write a comic about X-Ray Mary at
and
some
here,
point.
and here it is.
Here we are.
You have a published comic book, man.
It's pretty
after all
cool.
these years.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like
So proud of you.
my private universe that's super expansive. There's a lot of parody in it. There's a lot of characters in it that are based on people that I grew up with and people within my life. So there's a lot of probably legal issues if I ever try to do those out in the public. So I'm grateful for this book to be able to actually produce comics.
How do I get an issue? How do I get a copy of issue 1?
Well, if you go to prescribedfilms.com,
It's $5.
you can get a copy
X-Ray
there.
Married.
Or you
Or
rummage
X-ray
around in a
married.
box behind us.
Yeah.
There's probably one behind
probably
us.
one
It's
back
got to
there.
be somewhere in here somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. That's awesome. I'm so happy you get to follow your dream in another way. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and it's all you guys' fault. And the floodgate is open because I've already started a second comic book
Yep.
Nice.
that is more of kind of more in the theme of Mad Magazine kind of thing. Where it's
Nice.
going to be a lot of short subjects and some of my
Yeah,
own
and what's it
characters.
called?
Crapopolis.
Crapopolis. Yeah. Awesome.
So stay tuned. You'll find those on the websites that will be everywhere. So very cool. Well, that's all. I think we should probably wrap up talking about comic books. We could go all night,
Oh
especially
man,
Mike.
this is going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So let's take a quick break and tell you about our podcast network.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And we're back. I think we got, the van's big enough. Let's all climb in. Elgin's going to take us on a store tour.
All right, today's store that we're going to is it's actually it's in Shawnee, Kansas, near Overland Park, near Jason Shadnick's house.
Shiny
It's
bits.
it's called Shawnee Antique Mall. It's at 7410 Neiman Road in Shawnee, Kansas. We went there for the Super Bowl party earlier this year, but we've gone to Jason's house several times on tour. We stayed there when we've had
feeds us
shows
well.
in Kansas City. Yes, he
He
definitely
does
feeds us
feed
well.
us his beans.
Barbecue and donuts and
then
everything.
The donuts
Yeah.
are always
Lamar's
flowing.
donuts.
Oh, Lamar's donuts.
all good stuff. So a good friend of the family and related to us as well. So we stay at his house as much as we can when we're playing in Kansas City. And like I said, we went down there for a Super Bowl party. Unfortunately,
Go Bears!
Corey was not able to go down with us.
Yeah,
when we went
my
down with
wife
the
had
family.
the Rona.
Yep. But I didn't, so we went down and enjoyed his hospitality.
Yeah,
So we went out there, and it's kind of like almost like all the other antique malls where they have booths of stuff, and you can find whatever that was there. They had a bunch of Ninja Turtles there, but they only wanted to sell the entire collection. They'd want to parse them off. They're like $300 for all of these things. And it's like, well, I don't really want to do that. What I did finding there was in the box Spy Door, which I ended up taking a picture of, which if you go on our Instagram page, it's the very first post of our Cracktastic Plastic Instagram page. So if you scroll all the way down 200 posts down
Like
now,
some do.
yeah, some people do, and it's our very first post there. And I didn't get it because I already had a spider that a friend of ours, Jeremy Sample, gave me. He gave me the body, and I had to buy the legs. He's like, "Well, I have this. If you can find the legs." So it was all there, and the box is cool. So I took a picture of it and posted on there. So definitely would like to go back. I think they had some Transformers.
how much
but
were they asking? You didn't buy it?
I didn't. It was like
Okay.
80 or more. I think. I don't remember.
But those stores are so great because you never
Just
know what
random
you're going to
stuff.
find, and it
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah, and you never
inventory
know when
all-
you're going to find some little gem that And
Right.
you almost feel bad, like they don't know what they've got, and you
Yep.
find something for
Yep.
$3, and you're
They
like,
had like
this
a
is...
I don't feel bad.
You, with those kind of stores, you are usually more likely to find something
Yeah.
that is way
real.
underpriced.
They had a Millennium Falcon transformer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got him.
They had that there. It was missing some stuff
Got half
as
of him.
well.
I got the Wookiee half, and
That's the
the Han
important
half
half.
is not there.
Yeah. So they had that there, but just kind of random
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
great.
it was a cool place to go through, look around, and a lot of junk. But then also you can find those gems when you do go there. So
All right, that's the Shawnee Antique Mall
Yep.
in Shawnee, Kansas.
yep.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's go to talk to Corey. He's going to be talking toys.
Good evening, everybody. So our subject tonight is comic books. The question posed to the land of the internets was, do you read comic books? Ones that have toy line? What are your favorite toy-related comic books? We'll read your comments on the show. Let us know. And I'm about to do that. We got a few responses here that I feel like
So many.
are good responses. Andrew Wassam, Andrew
Wassel.
Andrew W. Awesome is your name now. He says Preacher and Garth Ennis.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Moore's Watchmen are great books with cool toy lines. The Watchmen comics are awesome. Like that those books are really well drawn and really well storied. Written
Vouch for
like,
Preacher,
Yeah,
too.
Preacher's
That's
pretty sweet.
one of the only
Preacher-
comics
I've never
ever
read Preacher, but I heard did they actually
So
do
fucked
the? I've heard it's awesome. Did they actually do the TV series?
It's a show. Yeah.
And is it good? Because I
I
haven't
watched the
I haven't
first
watched it.
season, and
I haven't watched it.
yeah, it's
It's-
all right.
it's
It's
not-
getting there.
okay.
It's hard to. That book's good.
Spider-Man says, I read all the Walking Dead comics and
Roll
most of
them
the Hellboy... Sorry, Peter Parker. Most of the Hellboy comics, but own no toys from them. I got a few Saga figures from McFarlane after discovering them through a post Andrew made here, but I have to catch up with the comics. Got some Spider-Man comics. Obviously, why wouldn't you? And a few figures. Still waiting for crossed toy line.
What's your name for crying out loud?
For Christ's sakes. It's Ryan Blart. Byron.
You two.
Fucking,
Have you looked at these before?
fucking Godzilla guy. What is his name?
Brian.
Brian Clark. He says...
This would not be as good as if you were prepared. This is much better.
No, I'm totally prepared. Fuck Brian. I'm kidding. No, Brian Clark. He says Mark Schultz's Xenozoic Tales comic from Kitchen Sink Press moved to Marvel and then to Topps Comics, at which point Nelvana developed one season of a Saturday morning cartoon, which naturally got a line of toys from Tycho. Thus, it was that the excellent Dino Riders, which also had a 3-issue tie-in comic from Marvel, toy molds, got a third life alongside some sweet post-apocalyptic vehicles. Kenner's Aliens, Space Marines toys. I know, he just doesn't shut the fuck up. Came with mini comics from Dark Horse that were meant to complement a rejected animated series from Fox Kids. Cartoons or no, the comics were a great addition to the toys, which were like G.I. Joe, but better. Fuck you, because the bad guys were bloodthirsty space monsters. Okay, sorry, unfuck you, that's true. Silver Kojak and an incompetent dork in a welding helmet.
Oh,
I got your dig. Back fuck you again. Incompetent dork in a welding helmet is one of the most fantastic, the most fantastic descriptions of Cobra Commander I've ever seen. Oh, good.
Brian's good with them words.
You know, not as poetic as saltwater sea lizard. But
no.
you know, whatever.
Oh no! Careful.
Careful. You don't want to piss off the Godzilla lover. Ken Tomlin. Ken's a good guy.
Yeah, because he likes G.I. Joes. That's what he's like.
Not as much as I used to, but I do have all the TPBs of G.I. Joe, whether it's the original Marvel run or the Devil's Due runs. A single comic costs nearly as much as a single action figure these days, so I usually wait for the collected editions or TPBs to come out before buying. I don't know what TPB stands for.
Dirty.
Trade paperback.
Trade paperback.
It took me a second too.
All right, I've never seen.
TVBs.
Yeah, it's like toilet paper buying. What do I know?
Yeah.
I don't. There's a disclaimer.
Wrong.
He's not wrong.
I don't really hate Brian because I haven't met him yet.
Disclaimer.
I will when I meet him.
Brian's awesome.
I love you,
Yeah,
Brian.
but not as awesome as Andrew W. Awesome.
It's true.
Sure.
He also has a lot of Mochi stuff, so he is doubly awesome.
Yeah, you guys would be circle
biased.
jerking in
Probably.
the bathroom.
Courtesy reach around.
Hey, that's what we got from our
Hey, thanks
our readers and
everybody for your
listeners.
comments. We really love hearing from you.
Except that
You
one
too,
guy.
Brian. Thank you.
Yes.
No matter what he said.
I'm starting to feel bad.
Don't feel bad for
Don't.
Lizard Boy.
It'll be funny if
Lizard
his
boy.
next post it just says Godzilla like 10 times.
I hope King Kong fucks his shit up.
Okay, guys, we did it. That's it. We've had enough. Let's call it a day. This man is so great having you guys here. Mike,
Thanks for having me. Finally got to be on this show.
Jay-Z made it back.
Love being here.
Oh, so great having you. Well, guys, what do you say? Let's get out of here, huh?
Yeah, let's go get some toys.
I did not retain any of the knowledge that
Oh,
these two.
and no one was shocked by that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's go look for some toys.
Yeah. Later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Cracktastic Plastic Podcast. But not so fast, my foul fiends. Don't forget to follow these fools on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And visit cracktasticplastic.com. I'll be back.